think he's a total spoofer. Why should be a spoofer? This is bullshit.
Wolves coming back from an offside position, but Shane Long was definitely onside. Shane Long has done it!
I'm going to enjoy tonight.
And you should as well.
Thanks very much.
Well done.
Bye.
Unless he's breastfeeding, he should be alright.
We are back here on Ireland Radar. As always on Tuesdays 2 to 3. We've got a very hungover studio today. As you can tell by me making mistakes already. James, you're back from Budapest. How was Budapest?
Very good. Very nice city.
Did you get up to much?
Prosecco cruise, bit of sightseeing. Seen the Ferencváros Stadium actually. It's kind of like on the outskirts of Budapest, I think.
Did you do the tour?
No, we didn't do the tour, no. We just kind of walked around, had some chimney cakes, which were very nice. Yeah, nice weekend away.
I think it's, I've been there a couple of times. I think it might be my favourite city to visit in Europe. It's certainly up there.
Very clean, alright.
Yeah,
it's a very nice city.
It's so nice that you missed your flight.
Yeah, these things happen. I won't go into the details of how I missed the flight, but yeah, it's just one of those things, I suppose. Which
is why you couldn't make it to the studio, I suppose. Last week we were delighted to be joined by David Zane, where we kind of went over the health of the Irish squad. We're going to be doing something similar again today. We're coming up to about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks out from the game against Czechia. Of course, 16 days away. If you are new here, this is Ireland Radar. I'm Dylan Hudson. This is James French, and you are listening on Flirt 101.3 FM. Of course, you may also be listening on Spotify or on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasting platforms. And if that is the case, you can also leave us a good review if you enjoy. This is the segment where we shamelessly beg every week, looking for, well, attention, really. If you were to give us a 5-star review, it really kind of helps us support us. It's the best way to support us as an independent podcast and trying to make it out in this big bad sports world. And the best thing you can do is leave a review. It genuinely helps. If you don't like it, maybe just don't touch that review section. That's okay. James, what are we talking about today?
Bit of League of Ireland. 4 League of Ireland players in the Ireland squad. Some under 21s, which we are hoping to have press accreditation for. Hoping to get an interview of one of the 21s during the international break in March, in a couple of weeks. Some midfield, the good, the bad, the ugly. Obviously, Finn Azaz kind of starring at the minute. Alan Brown doing quite well, and Joe Hodge too. Did some Dawson Devoy chat as well, and yeah, very well. Celtic Rangers this weekend just gone. Well, tell me what happened there. So basically, Celtic. So since 2018, Celtic have not had the full stand, the full Broomland stand at Ibrox. I think it's 7,500 fans, which we had always traditionally got up until 2018 when Alton Edouard scored the winner against them at Ibrox in a Glasgow derby when Rodgers in charge. We were a man down, I think, most of the game. We won 3-2, and the celebrations and kind of basically Rangers being bitter that they were beaten by 10 men Celtic, and Celtic had 7,500 fans celebrating in Ibrox, caused them to get rid of the allocation completely. It's only in the last year or so small sections of fans have been allowed back into Celtic Park and Ibrox for Celtic Rangers games. And then in the most recent game at the weekend, in the Cup game, because it wasn't a league game, it was kind of easier to do, but Celtic were given the full 7,500 allocation at Ibrox for the first time since 2018. Yeah, so what's that, about maybe 8 years? And yeah, we I don't know if anyone has seen, we did win on penalties, and after we won, some Celtic fans rightly celebrated. It's like small sections, like kind of didn't storm the pitch, but like kind of got past the first line of stewards celebrating, like which is kind of a natural thing to do given the circumstances. And all Rangers ultras, the Union Bears, or the Avengers as I like to call them, with their masks on, they basically stormed the pitch in response, launched, I think I was watching it live, launched 3 flares into the Celtic end, and yeah, just caused absolute carnage. And then there's the videos on X are absolutely hilarious. There's when Celtic fans kind of all the Celtic players had to be kind of escorted back into the tunnel safely because there was so many fans on the pitch, and there was Rangers fans shouting at Celtic players, control your fans, and stuff like this. And at the same time as Rangers fans were shouting control your fans to Celtic players, a Rangers fan ran on and attacked a member of Celtic staff while this was going on. And also we do have a new cult hero in Julian Araujo, our Mexican right back, who is just really loving these Rangers games. And you can look up anyone listening can look up the clip on X. If you just look up Araujo Rangers, the clip will come up of him giving it back to kind of Rangers fans who are giving him abuse, going back up the tunnel. But yeah, a very eventful Glasgow derby, and one which Celtic came out on top of, which is always nice. And Liam Scales was captain and was outstanding. Really, really, really good. Showed a lot of composure and showed a lot of leadership, and looked very, very comfortable in the hostile atmosphere, which is Ibrox, and in such a big game. Which he's just kind of used to now, just playing it in those big games. So yeah, big plus for him.
Yeah, on Liam Scales, I think David touched on him last week. He's going to be a big blow because he's actually suspended for the first game. But do you think that even for if we were to make it past this CZECHIA game, would he be someone that you're looking to start against a Denmark or Macedonia? I think we're probably looking a bit too far ahead, but
I think he does naturally come back in, given I think that left centre back role, it is his really. Given we have very few. I think maybe Jimmy Dunn's left-footed, but we have very few left-footed centre backs to play in that role in the 5-back, and he's played so many times as a left centre back or even a left wing back for Shamrock Rovers obviously years ago, but also for Ireland. Scales was playing left back actually at the weekend for us, so again showing his versatility. I think for me he definitely comes just right back in, obviously because of his obvious quality, but it's also very nice to have a lefty on that kind of left side of a tree. It's just very, very useful for build up and stuff. So yeah, for me I think he will come back in. The more probably interesting point is who maybe comes in and replaces him. Do you shift Dara O'Shea over to that left centre back position? What would you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know, because it's a weird one with the defence, because a lot of the players are a lot of defenders aren't exactly on the best of form either. Of course, the main one being Nathan Collins. And maybe we should get back in touch with our friends who cover Brentford to see what the exact story is with Nathan Collins at the moment. But he seems to be in and out of the team. So would you drop your captain? I don't think so. But to be honest, I can't really tell you how Darrell O'Shea has been doing recently. But I know John Egan has been doing brilliantly at Hull City as well. So I think he'll come back into the squad. I do really rate Liam Scales highly, and not just because he's maybe a favourite player of yours, and you don't often be too quiet about it.
I don't hide it now.
Yeah, I struggle to see where he'd come in, because I expect. Maybe we'll go through what our preferred 11s will be now that we're 2 weeks out in just a couple of moments, but I'd expect him to go with Collins and O'Shea and O'Brien as well.
Did you see the two Johnny's interview with Collins and Gallagher?
I did not, no.
Actually, it's very good.
Yeah, they've both been doing media rounds recently, because I've seen them doing something I think they did something for Lad Bible or something as well. You know, those UK versus USA food testing.
Collins and Gallagher?
Yeah,
I think they've been put up by Brentford to do all their media work.
Yeah, unfortunately Thomas Soucek did score a penalty against Gallagher last night.
But wait till Prague, he won't be scoring penalties against us.
Exactly. God, they were good penalties from West Ham though. Some news in the week. I met Heimer Helgrimsson. That was a weird one. Heimer Helgrimsson was in Eamon Deasley Park.
Is he a fan of the show?
Unfortunately, I got a little broed a bit. I asked him to do a bit of a 30-second thing for the show, and he told me no. He said he wouldn't do it. To
be fair, I didn't see any clips online of him answering any questions from random fan podcasts or anything.
Oh yeah,
I think he was very strict on that.
Well, I did kind of see him do a 2-minute interview with, what was it, at some other place.
League World Talk.
Yeah, to be fair, I was getting him when he was going on, but I will say, lovely guy. Really nice to meet him. A friend of the show, Donald, was chatting for a while, and there was kind of a few jokes and laughs going around, who was he there looking for Galway, and it obviously wasn't there looking at Stephen Walsh to replace Evan Ferguson in the squad. But did say it was a terrible game of football, which I'd actually...
That wouldn't happen that often at Eamon Deasley Park, given the style of football Galway play.
No, an entirely entertaining game of football. I enjoyed it, but maybe the quality wasn't the best. But yeah, it was nice to meet him, nice guy, and I got a lovely photo with him, and I shook his hand and wished him the best of luck in a few weeks now. Of course, if we do go on a win, I'm going to encourage like that being the reason for it. But he's clearly impressed with the League of Ireland at the moment, or at least it seems that way. I suppose there's an argument to be had. Is it an impression, or is this just kind of giving a nod of the cap to the League of Ireland? With the news is that 4 of the players from the league have been, at least according to Mark McCadden of the Irish Mirror, is that the 4 of the players will be in his provisional squad for the game coming up in just over a fortnight. Those players, of course, are Adam Brennan, who's had an incredible start to the season.
Meteoric rise in the last year from the first division to an Ireland provisional call-up is ridiculous.
That UCD to Shamrock Rovers Pat Line is something else.
I think they signed another guy as well from UCD as well. After Brennan,
but he's a really good story at the moment, obviously, because rejecting that move to Hull City because just 1-2 minutes in the League of Ireland was pretty good. Matt Healy is someone we've talked about. It could be in contention. Ed McGinty, of course, goes for Shamrock Rovers, and kind of the name that was being bandied about last week as a midfield option is Dawson Devoy as well. James, do you see any of these really being likely to be involved, or is it just the likes of maybe complimenting someone like Adam Brennan and be like, fair play, like on your season, kind of making it look like that they have a chance? But do you think any of these realistically have a chance of getting into the squad?
I think firstly with Heimer going to more League of Ireland games, I think it is because I know we did kind of get some flack for maybe not showing enough kind of interest in the League of Ireland when he kind of just got into the job. I know he had discussions about a home-based camp, and Stephen Bradley then hit back about like you'd have to talk to League of Ireland managers before doing that. But like definitely in the last 3 or 4 months, he seems to like really kind of put more interest into the like League of Ireland, going to games, and just seems to be much more involved, I suppose, in the league, which is kind of
the game on Friday. He went by himself, and he wasn't looking like to be kind of discreet. Like you'd normally expect him to bring like an assistant or a friend or anything. He just kind of walking around the start looking for somewhere to sit. I think he sat beside Tom Byrne for
just loving the game.
Yeah, just he wasn't trying to be discreet. Anyways, wearing full Ireland tracksuit and jacket, but.
I am the Ireland manager.
Yeah, it was some shock actually, because I was doing interviews with beforehand and just turned around and I was like, oh bloody hell, there's Heimer. Like I didn't expect him to be there for Galway and Dundalk. But I say like it's very good for him to be going, because he didn't get he kind of got a bit of criticism beforehand for not going to as many games. But
I don't think any of them will make the final squad, and that's not even. I wouldn't even say put that down to like God because they're playing in the League of Ireland, but I think it's more of a case that we've talked about this like every week since Hungary, that like Heimer is not going to shake it up with the squad for Prague. Like he's going to try and keep that cohesion as much as possible from Budapest, keep that momentum, and he's not going to want to bring in many players who haven't been in the camp before, never mind who haven't even like been in any squad or had any caps. So I think it's more of an acknowledgement of their form. The Adam Brennan one is interesting because I just because of his age and stuff, like it's surprising that he was kind of given that kind of call up already. I suppose that kind of does show at least how highly thought of he is by Heimer and his coaching setup. I would imagine he will kind of be a big player for the 21s now.
Yeah, that's something we can touch on a bit later. But of course, if he's coming in to play, it looks like Robbie Brady has suffered another setback and an injury. I don't know just how big that is. Of course, Patrick Schick has also picked up a knock. So if he could be injured for just like 2 weeks, that would
Ferguson versus Schick. Who can have more injury problems challenge?
I think Schick he's never missed more than 1 game in a row.
His scoring record last year has been ridiculous, and I feel like he goes under the radar. He's got like 30 goals a season.
Yeah, he's a very good striker. Hopefully he won't be on form.
The one thing you'll probably say about Brennan though is that like because of that position, like that playing left wing back in that 5 back for Rovers, first we don't have many players playing in that role for their clubs, and secondly, like we talked about this last week with our right wing back options, like right back and left back, we do not have that many significant options, like a couple injuries and there is a crisis. So like I think that could be another reason why maybe Brennan's been included in the provisional squad. Yeah,
that too. I mean, it speaks on Stephen Bradley's ability to kind of keeps producing left wing backs or even like just wing backs in general. You had Andy Lyons, you had Josh Honehan, now you've got Adam Brennan as well.
And they've all been kind of moulded into that role. It's not like they came to him as a attacking wing back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible stuff. And I think the argument you have as well, if if he's not going to play against, I don't know what the status of Callum O'Dowd is, but if you're having to have I suppose a Kevin O'Toole situation, which I think is something we talked about on the time. Kevin O'Toole, who was still...
Who is Kevin O'Toole?
I can't remember. I think he was in the media a couple of weeks
I
ago.
seen him, he was interviewed after the game by some Irish journalist talking about his chances for March, I think.
I think you'd rather a player from the League of Ireland be in that role if they're not exactly going to play to get experience in the camp. Just I suppose like Josh Owen did a while back. And
Owen was very unlucky to not like be included in like a full squad. Like I think he kept kind of picking up maybe an injury or something. I know he was carrying a knock kind of throughout over the course of last season and missed various kind of time during the season, but like given our options last season and given how our Rovers were playing in Europe, like he was very unlucky to have not made a final squad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably won't be in this one. I'd be surprised if any of them are involved, but I think maybe in November I think we might start seeing one or two faces that are in the squad, and of course probably not in our World Cup squad when we do eventually qualify as well. I think it would be quite similar. Of course, someone as well I want to touch on, we haven't actually talked about that much recently, was David McGoldrick. Do you think there's a lot of rumours saying about him? I don't know what his status is. Is he retired from international?
I thought he was retired. I don't know if he officially announced it, but he kind of filtered out of the reckoning. I'm not going to say for sure if he has like announced international retirement, but there has been loads to talk about it this week, and he's in absolutely ridiculous form for Barnsley.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, definitely is like an option for us given like the limited attacking options we have going into Prague.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to see him back in the squad. Of course, Ferguson out injured. It looks Ida might be unfit as well. I think if he was to come back in for a one night only return, there's not many better players. I think.
How beautiful would that be? Did he coming back for one night only,
yeah.
or say 2 nights only, and signing us to the World Cup, and then just retiring in a blaze of glory? Like,
yeah, what is he, like 38 now?
38,
yeah,
and he's literally in the best form of his career.
10 or 11 goals or something.
He dropped down to League 2 to play for Notts County. I don't know if that's his local team or there was a reason. I don't know why he dropped down.
He's far too good for him.
Yeah, he dropped down the levels and then he just absolutely smashed League 2, and now he's obviously at Barnsley League 1, and now Barnsley fans are afraid he's going to join a championship team next season.
Yeah, very good on that.
What were your thoughts on the League of Ireland players that were called up? Did you think? I know there was a lot of talk about Michael Duffy. I seen James McLean's story. He said brilliant for the 4 lads in the league, but mind blown stuff. Head League's current player of the year and current player of the month, Michael Duffy, is not included. The good old Dublin tax.
Yeah. Look, I don't know how much I'd read into that, but if you were telling me that players were getting called up in a situation like this, where like even the inclusion of Ed McGinty kind of points to me that this is a nod of the cap to the League of Ireland more than like these players are being seriously considered, is what I think. I think if you're going to call up any of those players, you probably should be thinking about Michael Duffy, because he's been the best player in the league last season. He's been one of the best players in the league for as long as he's been in the league, really.
One of the reasons I seen someone on X say why they wouldn't have him in the squad was because of his age, like, and he shouldn't be coming into the squad at this time of his career. Like, I think that's...
Yeah, I suppose that's a fair point.
That's not really... It's a kind of a poor point, though, given, like it doesn't really matter what time in your career you come into an international fold. Like, if you have something to offer, like, I don't think it really matters. Like, you've seen, like, lots of... Like, I think Francesco Acerbi only got capped for Italy at, like, 35. Didzy obviously came into the Ireland camp relatively late in his career. Like, I don't really think that should be like a factor affecting whether he gets called up or not. I think particularly in that kind of attacking options, in our limited attacking options and kind of our limited number of like quality wingers, like I think Michael Duffy should be definitely being considered. Like, maybe not for March. Well, he obviously is now, he's not in the provisional squad, but with a look to September, like if he's like still at the top of his game, still scoring loads of goals for Derry, like I don't see why he shouldn't be kind of considered. Yeah,
I think so too. But I think maybe it's also not exactly like we're looking for players in those positions. Now I know we are short in attacking positions, but I think if you were to bring in another attacker, you're looking probably at like someone like an Andy Moran being brought in, or maybe like
Ronan has confirmed that Dave McGoldrick did make himself unavailable after the Nations League with Kenny.
Thank you, Ronan. It'd be interesting to see if he would kind of just come back in, though, kind of for the...
Yeah, and Heimer did answer that question from your man at League of Ireland Talk about it. So it will be interesting to see. He did kind of give a wry smile when asked about it, so maybe it is going to happen.
Yeah, maybe it is. What is going to happen now is we're going to throw to a short audio bed, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a bit about the under-21s and everything else that we've got going on. See you in a bit.
He wasn't even speaking to them. They weren't speaking to me. It's probably what my wife does to me when I'm in trouble, and she gets a better husband in the end.
Well, listen, we've won. We shouldn't be here. Little old shells, as people call us. Everyone hates us, I think. We're in the division for another year, and we're in a final. Hey, it doesn't get any better. Well done. Thanks, Tony.
There's wars
Absolutely everywhere. I'd happily be a barista.
Well, listen, the guys are in there singing songs. You just want to be careful what you play.
So if this doesn't work out, you might see me in a coffee shop. It's the greatest league in the world.
I don't think I go that far, but it's great to see the buzz. The grounds are more or less packed every week, Damien.
I would go that far.
And we're back. So, James, the under-21s, they are back as well. Are they playing on is it the 31st of March or 26th of March that they are back? They'll be playing against Kazakhstan, or Moldova first, and then away to Kazakhstan on the 31st. They've very much, I think, gone under the radar, as is, pardon the pun, but I think probably because of all the Ireland business, and, well, I suppose it's the poorest run of form they've been on for some time, really. Or I suppose the Andorra defeat recently was a pretty dreadful result.
Yeah, obviously started their campaign with the wins against Andorra and Moldova by pretty narrow scorelines, it must be said. I think there was only a goal in both of those games. They then drew with Slovakia. I think it was 2-2, maybe 2-2 draw, was it? And then the England result was pretty. I know it was the one that lost, but we've talked a lot about Jacob Devali's performance in that game. It was a pretty good performance, all things considered, given the English team which they had out, which was frankly ridiculous. The amount of Premier League regulars was a joke. And then obviously, as you just touched on there, the Andorra game was really, really disappointing. I know Heimer talked about, I think we mentioned it last week, about the high altitude and stuff in kind of Mexico and the US that Ireland are going to have to deal with for our games there if we do make it. And he referenced the 21s as a example in how badly they fared in Andorra with the high altitude, with the conditions and the heat and stuff, which really, really did affect us. Losing by 4 to Andorra is pretty definitely a huge low point for them, but they can still qualify. They will need to go and beat Slovakia away. Probably they need to win the rest of their games against Andorra, Moldova and Kazakhstan, and maybe they might need to get something at home to England as well. It's definitely still on the realms of possibility, and there is positives with the 21 squad now. You've got, maybe in the last camp there was not as many players playing senior minutes, but now we've got the likes of obviously Adam Brennan who will come in. He's playing week in, week out. Owen Elding, I don't know if he has his passport yet, to be honest. If he does, again, he'll come in and he's playing week in, week out. Mason Mealy is back training for Tottenham. Trent Condarty's obviously at Molde now. The likes of Justin Finn Azaz, Carl Heffernan, all playing senior club minutes, and also Jacob Devali, who we've obviously talked about. Obviously, I don't on the radar as well. He's playing senior club minutes for St Mirren. So there is a lot of guys playing first team minutes, probably more so than the last 21s camp, which is a positive. And the 2 games, home to Moldova, away to Kazakhstan, you would expect them to pick up the 6 points in those ones. Away to Kazakhstan probably is a bit of a banana skin given the result, the performance in Andorra. But hopefully they can get the 6 points, and it'll be interesting to see if Elding obviously has his passport. Michael Noonan's going to be in the squad probably. Mason Mealia, Owen Elding, Mark O'Mahony probably going to be in that squad as well. That's 5 really good attacking options striker wise. I don't know how he's going to fit them all in. To be honest, looking at the makeup of the squad, Adam Brennan obviously in really good form at left wing back, it probably makes sense to switch back to that kind of 5-back that Crawford's used a lot in his time. He's kind of tended to use the 5-back in games against the higher seeds and then play in a more expansive 4-2-3-1 against the lower ranked teams. But we don't really have, obviously Trent Condarty and Jad Hakiki were kind of the main guys on the wings for them this campaign, but we do have an abundance of strikers that like you probably would want to kind of have at least two of them starting in the team. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits them all in, but definitely more positivity going into 21's camp this time rather than last time. Just a lot more guys getting first team minutes, a lot of guys got moves in January, and it'll be interesting to see who makes the squad, because there is the likes of Carl Heffernan and Justin Fairzash who may have played themselves back into that kind of reckoning, given they're playing first team minutes now in League 2.
Yeah, as you said, it's definitely an exciting squad that is there, and it's kind of what made the Andorra result kind of interesting and disappointing. But obviously Heimer spoke on the altitude. I think there could be a bigger conversation there. Obviously I think the altitude thing is quite difficult because of course like these are 20, 21 year old footballers who've probably never had to deal with that kind of thing before, but he's brought it up as a thing that the first team is going to have to deal with during the World Cup, of course, when we get there, because the base camp for, I think, in Mexico for the first few games is at sea level, while their games, of course, Mexico quite famous for these stadiums that are of high altitude, which has given their national team quite an advantage in some games. But that we would be playing these very high altitude, some of the most highest altitude games possible in international football, while training at a base camp of whatever. So I think there's going to be an interesting conversation to get around that. Just one thing, do you see anyone, you mentioned about players that could be coming back into the under 21s, but do you see anyone coming in that kind of impressing who hasn't done so before, and kind of who do you think from the under 21s is going to be the next player to make the step into the senior team?
Yeah, I think even from like the last 21s crop that obviously went very, very close and went to Italy and drew, and I think they got the most points ever for an under 21 side in the qualification to not qualify for a major tournament. They did really, really come close, and even the stars of that campaign, the likes of Andrew Moore and Sinclair Armstrong, James Abanqua, these guys haven't exactly stepped up to the senior team yet and are coming off the bench or starting, but they have been in obviously squads and stuff. And I think it is it's hard to kind of really judge it, given it's just difficult to know where their careers are going to go after in the next couple of years. But I suppose the biggest prospects from my perspective, midfield, which is obviously the issue we talk about a lot. I know you've got Elding, Mealy Noonan there, who will kind of grab the headlines as the next great Irish strikers, but Jacob Devaney is a huge one for me in terms of what he brings to the team. He's just that profile of player we just don't have, someone who's so composed in midfield, and just obviously playing first team minutes now at 18. I just think I'd love to see him fast tracked into the squad in the next kind of 12 to 18 months.
He's made such an incredible start to life in Scotland.
There's also maybe there could be maybe the likes of Roy Finneran, who was at the men's or the under 17 World Cup. He was part of that squad. Newcastle now, but really, really good midfield player. Some of those 17s, maybe like Vinnie Leonard as well, they could come in, given Vinnie Leonard's obviously moved to Norwich now, not moving to the summer, but he's playing every week for Dundalk. So some of them 17s may come in as well. But yeah, it's just much more exciting than the last camp, just given there's a lot more guys in form and playing minutes. And the two games are going to be really exciting because the squad does look like it's going to be kind of a lot of quality in it. A lot of maybe guys you haven't seen before, the likes of Adam Brennan. Hopefully Elding has his passport. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Will Alex Murphy be involved, do you think? He's recently played for Newcastle. Also, you mentioned a young player, Scott O'Sullivan, has also made a move to Preston North End. I think he's going to be going.
Yeah, I don't know what his kind of situation is injury wise. Yeah, I don't know if he's recovered fully from his injury, but I'm sure once he kind of gets up to speed and is playing football for the Preston 21s, he could come in. But the one thing I would say is the one that Crawford's really been banging the drum about, guys getting out of that English 21s kind of academy system, kind of playing too many games at that level and getting out and playing senior minutes. He's been kind of really banging that drum in recent press conferences, so I think like that'll be something that you'll see in the squad, that like that a lot of these guys are playing minutes, maybe at that League 2, League 1 level, but still being prioritised over guys that are just playing for 21s.
Yeah, of course, Elding is going to be the one that people are keeping their eyes off. You heard something about Owen Elding from... You got a source for this one who's given us an insight?
I did, yeah, from Hit the Byline, and analysis, Scottish football analysis account, really good. Do give him a follow if you're interested in Scottish football at all. He obviously gave some insight into Jacob Devaney a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, very good insight. He was a very good chat to have him on.
Yeah, he's watches all the games of Scotland. So yeah, it's very thankful to get his kind of thoughts on Elding, because we don't like just talking about players and we haven't actually watched them ourselves. Even though I did see the 2 goals he got.
Yeah, I'm going to play that for you guys now.
Hi mate. Yeah, I've been really impressed with what I've seen so far from Owen Elding. Very, very physical striker. He's strong, very fast, great in the air, because obviously he scored his 2 headers, but he just looks very aggressive in duels, especially when they are in the air and stuff. I've watched quite a bit of him when he was at Sligo, and I cannot wait until he scores an absolute thunderbolt with his left, because I've seen a few of them and they're ridiculous. So hopefully he does one of them soon. In terms of what I think his role will be going forward, I think he's going to be like one of the next main men at Hibs, with obviously Bowie leaving in the January to go to Italy, and Martin Boyle's now been announced to be leaving at the end of the season. So you could probably see Owen Elding being one of, if not the main man going forward at Hibs. Hibs will probably likely try and find a replacement for Martin Boyle, because obviously his experience is crucial for them. But Owen Eldon's been very, very impressive. And yeah, another very promising young Irishman who's kind of got everything that he needs to make it in Scotland, especially. Just like what I said before about his physicality. You kind of need something about you to make it in Scotland, because defenders and midfielders and stuff that you'll be coming up against are usually a lot more physical than elsewhere. So he is very well suited to that already. So yeah, very excited to see what he can do in the next few games and come the end of the season.
I thank you to Hit the Byline for his insightful analysis. As always, it's a very good view into how Owen Elding is doing. One of my good friend of mine is a Sligo Rovers fan, and they are desperately missing him this season. One of the things he told me about watching Elding every week is just how physical he is for a player of his age. That like he's very much I think I've said this about a few players coming from the League of Ireland, but I think this is the benefit you get from playing so young. He's very much like a man already. Like at 19 years of age, like is already like he's tall and he's big and strong.
See, a lot of the current League of Ireland players have talked about how Melia and Elding in particular, although they're obviously brilliant technically, but the big thing about them is physically they're able to really match it against guys that are 10 years older than them and obviously more physically developed. Like, so I think that's Elding technically is outstanding, but like being able to having played so many minutes of senior minutes in Ireland, where it's obviously very physical, very direct, to kind of just translate straight into Scotland, which is really nice.
Yeah, my sources at Spurs, which is just my friend that's a Spurs fan, have told me that Melia is back in training as well at Spurs, so I think he's getting set up with the under 21s there. I'm not sure if he'll be able to help them with their relegation battle. But
listen, it could be a good thing. Maybe they go down, they'll trust them into the starting lineup in the Championship.
In the Championship, yeah. Maybe he'll get minutes tonight in the Champions League. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. So we are back to talk about what we always talk about in this show, I guess, which is the midfield focus. I think this is a good topic with Devoy and Healy on the provisional list, as we talked about. But it looks like Will Smallbone is coming back to fitness. I mean, he's someone that Heimer, I think, barring one camp where he was fit and not used, like he's someone that has been favoured by Heimer in and out of the squad. He returned from injury in Millwall's 3-1 away win versus Hull on Saturday. John Egan's Hull City. Of course, I expect John Egan will be in the squad as well. He came on in the 83rd minute. I don't know, will he be the one replacing that starting role, but I do expect to see Will Smallbone back in the Ireland squad for this one. Alan Brown is also continuing his great run of form from Middlesbrough. He scored in their 4-0 win over QPR. He's really been exceptional since the new year, and that loan move to Middlesbrough has really kind of sparked his career again from when he wasn't getting too many minutes at Sunderland. He scored 3 goals in January. I think he picked up the Championship's Player of the Month award for the entire league, not just for the club. He's we know what he's done for Ireland. You know, he's obviously a set piece threat as well, which you can never have too many of those. Versatile player, can play at right wing back. You'd like to see. I've always been confused why Heimer hasn't gone with him a bit more often. You know, he's not too. He's at a good stage of his career where he's 31. He's probably in his best years now, just at the end of his best years. But it'd be good to see him contributing, and it's great to see him back on form. One of the Irish players enjoying life at the Championship at the moment.
Yeah, I think it probably goes under the radar to reference that again. That like Adam Brown's actually scored quite a few times for Ireland in like kind of provided some big moments. Like I remember the goal against Belgium, the 2-2 draw with them, and like I think he scored another one like a really, was it against, who did we play in that friendly? It was Senegal. Didn't he score against Senegal? No, was that Casey McAteer?
That was Casey McAteer,
yeah. Well, forget what I was saying. He has actually scored like I think maybe 4 or 5 goals in an Ireland shirt. Like he's very much kind of like a box crashing midfielder. Loves getting in the box, getting his head on things, and
he's playing as the deepest midfielder a lot for Middlesbrough at the moment too, though.
Yeah, I just don't see him as that profile of player, and I haven't. I'm naive in saying this because I haven't watched Brown for Middlesbrough. I didn't know he's playing as the deepest midfielder, but I just don't know if he provides that protection that Josh Cullen was. I think we'll touch on now what our teams are going to be, and I'll touch more into my thoughts on who I would partner Jason Malumbi with. But for me, I just don't think he's that profile player, and it's probably looking like he's going to, like realistically, he's probably going to be him and Malumbi, just kind of going off predictions.
It was Scotland. He scored that.
Scotland.
Ronan coming in with the upload. Ronan very much holding our hand this week. As yeah. I think that
he's done the doc. He's answering every question we have.
He knows how bad the hangover probably is from the pair of us last night. So I thanks for Ronan for the help. But yeah, I we'll get onto this in a minute. I think it's going to be Alan Brown. I will not be mad in any sense of the world if it's Alan Brown, and we think it's probably both going to be Jason Malumbi, not to spoil our picks, but I think the fact that he's versatile as well, you can move him around in games. Look, at the end of the day, if Alan Brown's in the squad, which he probably will be and he should be, I think he's a very good player to have, and you're going to see him playing regardless. I think he's probably going to come off the bench, and like that's just a very useful player to have.
Given we have no right wing backs or right backs in any getting any minutes with Doherty and Coleman
and Ebisele as well.
And Ebisele not even playing for Istanbul. Like he'll be Brown and Knight, who's come back in squad, both maybe utilised in that right wing back position at some point.
Finn Azaz has turned around his kind of poor start to the season as well. Started Southampton, knocked Fulham out of the FA Cup on Sunday, created a big chance, and also earned a penalty. What we said about Azaz before is that he can, he seems to go quiet in games, but you kind of want him there to provide, the final ball, the touch. I think we at least need one player who's a creative spark in the team. I assume it's going to be.
Production kind of stats for Southampton this season have been pretty good. Like
he's.
I know, like Azaz, I'd like him to like a Celtic's top scorer at the minute, Benjamin Negrin. Like is just like such a a controversial figure in Celtic sport, because just he's like so like bad on the eye. Like if you watch him, he looks clumsy, he loses the ball, but then he's got 15 goals this season. Yeah. So like we have to just accept that he is a really good player. But I just really I think Finn Azaz is very similar in that he just looks clumsy at times.
In some way, you're applying the Mo Salah effect to Finn Azaz.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he looks clumsy at times. Like he just gives the ball away needlessly, but then he'll like provide that wonderful assist in Budapest, or
Finn Azaz blows my mind, because he was one that, from what I've seen, because I didn't catch him very often, one of the best players in the Championship last year, over 20 odd goal contributions, and the assist he provided for the first goal in Hungary, I can't remember, was it the first or the second goal?
Second goal.
It's like an incredible pass, but it was he didn't look like he could trap the ball. for the entire game, and he was turning like he had a crane on
the
his
ball just gets caught under his feet. He's just not a good football to watch, but then he was very productive.
And I still think he should be in the team because of it. And
he will be, definitely, yeah.
And Ronan's going to kill me for saying that, because there's someone that he would like to see in the team. And James, you tell us a bit more about Jamie McGrath. I think we had him on the radar a few weeks ago.
Was it did we have him last week?
I can't remember. We do so many of these that is, but also someone that I'm a big fan of and surprised hasn't been more of a prominent member of the Ireland squads recently is Jamie McGrath. Of course, there was that Scottish podcast that called him as a Scottish player recently.
And there's just a meme on Twitter. Anytime Jamie McGrath's a good game, the first reply is always Scotland, surely in line for a Scotland call-up.
He's not finished. He's only 28. Jamie McGrath is getting Hibs Player of the Season shouts up in Scotland. McGrath scored in their most recent game, a 3-3 draw with Dundee, bringing his tally for the season to 9 goals and 3 assists. It's very good so far, but I think what Ronan we've been chatting in the Ireland Radar group chat this week, is that his off the ball efforts might be something that we're looking to bring into the team.
He's that bit more mobile than Finn Azaz, kind of pressing wise. Depending on how we set up in Prague, if we're going to be aggressive like in the press, he will definitely be a better option than Azaz. But like at the same time, Azaz is going to start just because, as we've the points we've touched about on, I'm wanting to keep the same kind of 11, keep the cohesion. Like Azaz will 100% share, I'm sure of that. But I would like Jamie McGrath will be in the squad. He was involved in the camp back in November, but like I would really hope that he does get meaningful minutes off the bench, because I think he can provide like a moment of magic for us. And even if, say, we're holding on to a lead, bringing him on for Finn Azaz, someone who's a bit more athletic, that can kind of press the game and cover the ground better than Azaz, could be really, really useful. And Jamie McGrath has been like a really solid, or really quality, like attacking player in Scotland for probably 4 or 5 years now. Like he's genuinely like I'm surprised he hasn't got a move to, obviously not Rangers, but like even ourselves, to be honest, given how productive he's been. And like there has been shouts from members of the Celtic support to like, why haven't we maybe looked at him, or even clubs in the Championship, why they haven't looked at him, because he has just been so productive and so consistent, and just definitely a player who deserves his plaudits, as Ronan will be very happy with that. Yeah, we also have here the kind of supposed surprise name in the squad could be Joe Hodge. He's now started 7 games in a row for Tondela in Portugal. I mean, he's got an assist in 2-2 draw with Santa Clara last week, followed up with top performance against Rio Ave. Do you think he could be a surprise name to be included in the squad, or do you think kind of the names that we've talked about recently are just going to be the ones that we go for? It's a difficult one. Like if you look at that midfield, like it's going to be obviously in the squad. In terms of who gets in the squad, it's going to be Brown, Knight, Malumbi, obviously, McGrath, Azaz, and then like it'd be interesting to see if Boston Lawal does make the squad, given he was in such good form before the injury, or maybe do we see the likes of a Joe Hodge come in, or I forgot Conor Coventry will be in the squad as well. But it'll be interesting to see if maybe Joe Hodge comes in over a Boston Lawal or someone like that, because we've talked a lot about Joe Hodge like on the show, and that he's literally Josh Cullen's regen in terms of how he plays. It's just a very, very accomplished number 6, someone who's calm under pressure and just plays very like Josh Cullen. I think they're similar height as well. They just are very similar players from my point of view. And I know we talked about, I think when Joe Hodge was on Under the Radar a couple of weeks back, about the level in Portugal, and there's been a lot of discussion about this.
Nobody really knows how good the Portuguese in particular actually is.
Down the bottom of that league, probably likened to maybe League 1 level, which again is for the age Joe Hodge is, League 1 level, playing every week would be probably pretty good for him. But it's just, as I said when I had Joe Hodge on the radar, it's just good for him to be starting every week, because he's kind of was like just forced to be a.
There's a fire alarm.
He was forced to be a squad player at Wolves for so long, or a fringe player coming off the bench. It's nice to see him finally getting his fruits of his labour and actually starting minutes, and definitely could be someone who does make a surprise appearance in the squad for Prague.
I gotta respect the dedication. Potential fire in the building, but you still want to stay out.
I still want to talk about Joe Hodge.
Excellent stuff. Right, I think before we eventually get burnt to a crisp, I think it's a good time to talk about our predicted Ireland squad. Do you want to do predicted Ireland squads, or Ireland squads you want to see?
We go on squad or 11?
11.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to name every player off the top of my head or a squad. I'll probably name like 30 players.
Yeah.
Starting 11. So are we going now?
I think you hit it first, and I'll tell you what difference.
I want to go second, but I'm gonna obviously go with Queevy and Kelleher in goal. The back five is gonna be no Liam Scales, obviously, but Seamus Coleman probably gonna start right wing back, even though he's playing no minutes, which is not good.
I think the argument, though, he played absolutely no minutes in before the last.
Just
couple
pure
of games,
passion, he'll be fine.
and was still our best player on the pitch. So
for leadership wise, he just has to play.
He has to, and like he's still an excellent player.
Can I finish my team?
Go ahead.
And the right centre back, I'm going to have Jake O'Brien. In the middle, obviously Nathan Collins, and I'm going to go with Darrow O'Shea on that left side. Has played on the left side of a tree for Ireland before, and he is quite useful at his left foot and stuff. So Ryan Manning then a left wing back who's been in very good form. And then the big one, the midfield, I'm going to go with Jason Malumbi and Connor Coventry to partner him. That was the team. That's the midfield I would like to see. Just
what do you think it will be?
It'll be Malumbi and Brown.
Yeah, you think?
No questions asked. There's no way he's starting Coventry. But in my dream world, where I'm Heimer Helgrimsson, I'm going with Connor Coventry and Jason Malumbi, just because I think Coventry is much more of the type of player, a similar profile to Cullen. We've talked about these points a lot. It's kind of just makes more sense than having Brown in there, just given the qualities Coventry has. He's a bit more kind of accustomed to that sixth position. And then in the attack, then I'm going to go with Finn Azaz, obviously. Chidozie Ogbene, who is, at least he's playing 21 minutes for Sheffield United, but again, not a great situation.
It's just not the same. Not the same type of football. We
really don't have a profile player that can come in and do the job we need him to do. So those two obviously going to be starting for me, and then I'm going to go Troy Parrott, obviously up front, the man himself, the man of the era.
Bold take.
Who else will we even start? I'm going to go with Didzy.
Yeah, Ferguson with one ankle. I think it would make for great radio if I could pick apart your lineup. I actually do not have any.
You're just going to pick the same team as me.
I pretty much have. I do wonder, will there be the interesting things I'm thinking of? One of them is not going to be Collins in midfield. If I see anyone suggesting that again, they are getting blocked.
I was going to suggest it.
Oh, gee. If people in goal, I know Cody Collins, of course, Champagne. We were chatting the last day about people suggesting Collins in midfield, and it's such a bugbear of mine. I can't deal with it, and just because McGrath did it back in the day doesn't mean the name. There's two very different players there as well, and also a very different landscape football. No, that's not happening. What could happen is Manning on the left wing instead of left wing back. I think he likes to do that, Heimer, when we're facing bigger sides.
Who's going to play left wing back?
If Robbie Brady is fit. I think he'll go.
Who will come in if Robbie Brady's not fit? Will Ferrier?
O'Dowda probably.
He's not even. I don't think he's only back from injury. He hasn't been starting for Fer and Cavros, even though they are flying in Europe.
Kevin O'Toole.
Who is Kevin O'Toole? To be fair, it could really be Will Ferry. He's played consistently for Dundee United this season. Yeah,
it could be, but I wouldn't be surprised to see O'Dowda. And I think if O'Dowda came in, then it would be O'Dowda, Parrott, and Ogbene. He would come in for Azaz. Wouldn't be my preferred choice. It's the same with you. I'd probably go with Connor Coventry, but have no qualms with Alan Brown playing in midfield. I think it will be Alan Brown. But yeah, the only other change I can really see is maybe Ryan Manning coming in.
I think you'd only probably start Manning over like Chio, because you need a creative kind of presence there with McGrath or Azaz, really.
Yeah, I can't see him not playing Ogbene.
Or maybe Sammy Smodix.
I don't think he's going to play. I think he'll be in the squad, but I don't think he's going to play. I think Heimer relies so much on Ogbene. He has from the start, really, that I don't see a world where Ogbene is fit no matter how many minutes he's playing or what that level is. I think he'd do anything to play Ogbene, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I think Ogbene is so important.
Well, he's so crucial to how we play because he just chases down everything.
Yeah, and of course, as good defensively as he is going forward as well. So yeah, that would pretty much be my team, the exact same as yours.
Really great content too.
The attacking situation, obviously, the bad news about Ferguson, we touched on it a bit last week, so I'm going to be very brief with it, but we're very light on game-changing attacking options. I think even at the moment, if Ferguson was fully fit, I don't know, would I be starting him just on the basis that I don't think we should be playing two strikers in a game that we're probably the underdog, but it would be certainly lovely to have a player of his ability on the bench and be able to call for him, and of course would be your first sub. But it looks very light on attacking options. If we're to be in an unfortunate position that we were trailing maybe in the second half, who do we bring on off the bench?
Johnny Kenny.
Yeah, that's about it, to be honest.
Did he? To return to Mac?
Yeah, he'll listen to the show and just he'll get back on the phone.
Is Didzy a friend of the show?
Yeah. We'll find out. But yeah, it looks like Ferguson's going to be out for the rest of the season, and if and when we do qualify for the World Cup, he looks quite likely to miss it as well. Of course, ankle surgery is...
I think he's gone back to Brighton to have that, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. Is a nasty one. That unfortunate tackle from Fabinho a couple of years ago. That
he's really just completely altered the course of Irish football.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Where would we be like if he hadn't have done that tackle?
Probably in Mexico. Yeah, in the summer. I'm worried we only have about 10 minutes left. Unless you want to touch anything more about the attacking options, but I don't think we see.
We did talk a lot about it last week, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we see anyone else coming in. Do you have anything for under the radar for us this week, James?
I do. I have gone with Cathal Heffernan, a name that many Irish fans will be aware of just because of him. He moved to Inter Milan a number of years ago. Or was he at AC Milan first?
It was AC.
Yeah, he was at AC Milan.
It's one of them.
Kevin Zeffy was at Inter Milan. That's who was at Inter Milan. The pair of them kind of got those moves to like those two huge Italian clubs, and kind of made a lot of airwaves with that. Kind of drifted back into kind of academy football, or he couldn't be in academy football ever since. He moved to Newcastle, I think it was a year and a half ago. Played a lot, captained their 21s team, to be fair. Played a lot of games in the UEFA Youth League. I think he actually scored a couple of goals. But as with Newcastle, kind of they very rarely kind of play their players from within, as we've seen with Alex Murphy. Even in the most kind of risk-free scenarios, they just don't play them. So that Heffernan kind of struggled, or just didn't play any senior minutes for Newcastle. He has signed for Harrogate Town in League 2, and he's been kind of starting pretty consistently for them. Since he scored against Cheltenham last week. He's still only 20, so he should be probably in the 21 squad, given he's playing first team men's football. He should be in the 21 squad for their games coming up. But it's just kind of just nice to see him playing men's football, because he has played a lot of academy football. I know obviously Damien Duff kind of talked about how gave his thoughts on academy football and how kind of limiting it is compared to regular kind of proper men's football. But even with that, he's been at AC Milan and Newcastle. Obviously had some very good coaches, I'm sure, that have kind of coached him and stuff, so that will stand to him. And then he's now obviously starting at League 2, which is a pretty good level for a guy that's only 20. And yeah, it's a permanent deal as well, so hopefully he can kind of keep starting for Harrogate Town and keep shining, and hopefully maybe he might get a move up the divisions in the next year or two as well.
Yeah, I believe that Cheltenham goal was his first ever goal, which was congrats to him. It's certainly someone to keep an eye on. I always find that Italian crop that only really James Abanqua has done well from moving there.
And that's only because Udinese have a link with Watford, so they just sent him back. But
I always find it interesting that just keep an eye on them every now and again and see how they're going, because they all went at the same time.
Yeah, it was kind of like a boom, and probably Irish agents recommending to go to Italy, and then it's failed pretty miserably, and a lot of them have came back now. So
I think
hopefully that Italian question is gone now.
It was probably also Italian football of trying to exploit the Premier League market, knowing that Irish players will look to go to the Premier League, and that's where they can get the most money from selling.
Yeah, but then no Italian teams play any young players, which is their issue.
Yeah,
and their issue with the national team as well.
Yeah, which is funny because they always try to copy Borussia Dortmund's model, and they just buy these young English players and just don't play them. But yeah,
notoriously badly run Italian clubs.
Other business, the FAI have launched a new plan. The document's pretty vague. I don't know if you got to look much at it, James, because I think both of us were in sorry states this morning after last night's.
I did read the article in the Sun about it. It's as Anna said on the doc, it is pretty vague. Outlines all this stuff about wanting to reach top 20 European rankings. They haven't. I don't think they've outlined what. They also want to reach a certain ranking in terms of the league as well. I don't think they've outlined what that is yet. But they basically just said Ireland is really underperforming compared to peers in terms of. I think we're 15th in Europe for participation or something, percentage of population participation. They talked about how lacking in the contact hours our academy players are, which is obviously a question and an issue that's been raised many times over the last year and a half or 2 years. And basically just they're going to look to address that. They're going to look to, I think, get more sports capital grants as well. And they want at least 3 Category 2 UEFA stadiums and 1 or something like I can't remember here. I'm trying to jog my memory, but so a number of Grade 3 UEFA ranked stadiums as well, because I think Tala Stadium is the only one in Ireland at the minute that is, or Andy Aviva obviously, but only League of Ireland stadium that is able to host a UEFA kind of competition game. So yeah, that is the gist of it. I don't want to talk too much about it because I only briefly read the article, but they've launched a plan. Hopefully, let's see if the plan works.
Yeah, let's see if it gets carried out. Like I think I got sent this morning the Instagram post of it. I didn't have time to read more into it. Maybe it's something we'll discuss more next week when maybe we'll talk to somebody or hear more about it. Or I'm sure there'll be more done because it is quite fresh news, of course. But I think the whole thing is centred around they want to increase participation in Irish soccer through qualifying for international.
That was the big one, yeah.
So that's kind of the entire plan. Basically,
I was surprised that we're 15th in like percent. Or I think it was 15, but we're definitely in the top like 17 of like percentage of like participation percentage of people playing or kids playing football, like, which I just thought was a surprising stat.
Yeah, of course the thing is centred around boys and girls as well, and it is about more kind of shared participation with infrastructure, and the big one, of course, is the improvement in infrastructure, and if they can work towards it is a very it sounds quite ambitious, but we'll see how true it is. But because you mentioned like the objective of having yearly representation in the Conference League, which is like already kind of a common reality. Like I don't know if that's something we should be working towards.
I think Shamrock Rovers is like Conference League minimum every year now, given their budget and given what they have. The squad
Stephen Bradley talked about at the end of last season. Like their objective now should be qualifying for the Europa League.
He has said that, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, or going forward.
I think it's probably ambitious to look for 2, just because like a bad draw, and because like not a lot of the Irish teams are obviously well seeded. 1 bad draw and that's gone out the window. So like Shells did get somewhat fortunate in the teams they faced last year in the kind of past the Champions League route.
Yeah, it'd be interesting that the next time around the qualifying comes about, because I think a lot of the discussion we had is just how strong the top end League of Ireland teams are at the moment. That there is a bit, obviously Derry haven't started the season just as well, and that kind of whole James McClain midfield thing is kind of centred to it.
And as well, you have like all 4 of the teams that got Europe, obviously Rovers, Derry, Shells and Bowes. Like it's not like one of them has fell off this season. They are all going reasonably well. They've all had reasonable off seasons, and they've all started the season well. So like that is a positive going into the qualifiers. We don't have like a case of somebody who's maybe really struggling in the league then playing in Europe. So like that's another a good thing to have. Yeah, very good. Anything you want to touch on before we end the show for today? Not really, though. No, I don't think so. We could do some more begging, I suppose. Yeah, if you enjoyed listening to us live here on Flirt FM, or if you're listening back on Spotify, if you could give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, that'd be brilliant. If you could drop us a follow on Spotify, of course, would also be brilliant. What other podcasting platforms exist? We also upload on YouTube, obviously. If you want to watch there, you can like, you can subscribe, you can even comment if you have something to say about the hungover mess that was today's show, or if you have something positive to say as well, like that's always welcome. Maybe just if you have something negative to say, maybe just don't comment. Yeah, but if you have something half positive, we'll take a half positive. Take something nice. So maybe, I don't think this week's show is one we're going to be uploading for any student media awards. Or no, I think this is going to be one that kind of just goes into the realm of podcasting and never comes back out. There'll probably be no show next week with St Patrick's FC. We'll probably be up to bits and bobs. Some activities, is it? Yeah, probably. Unless we secure an interview within the week, then we'll probably play that on next. Yeah, we'll probably play that interview over the show. Next week. And if we might even upload it beforehand to our podcasting platforms. Very quickly, I'm going to play this show out with Green Chatton's new song, which is featured in the Peaky Blinders movie. It's called Puppet. Thanks for joining me and James this week on Ireland Radar. Every week except for next week, 2 to 3 on Flirt 101.3 FM. See ya. Goodbye.